ahead, put it on real tight. Hope you brought your best tonight. They say they got the fireworks, yeah, they say they got the show. You're around the shoots, you're the best, so let's go.
This is Texas Toast, a production of TSC Entertainment. I'm your host, Miss Helen. Kick back and enjoy as we toast the best from Texas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Texas on Tap. I'm Miss Helen along with producer Kyle, and it's time for us to chit-chat about some music and just, good stuff going on. How you doing, Kyle?
Good. I've had a pretty good week. How are you doing?
I'm good. I don't have any air conditioning right now, but
a little warm, but good.
Yeah. So I'm literally in my bathing suit. I've been down by the pool, so.
Nice.
Anyway.
Well, sorry to pull you away from all the fun. We got to share some tunes with everybody this week, and then you can go back and enjoy the sun. I guess you don't have to sit inside and enjoy the sun.
Yeah, it's that time of the year with the holiday weekend coming up. Our dear friends are so amazing, and they're just stopping by to visit, and it started this afternoon, and I'm like, y'all just go hang out outside because it's like air conditioning, because inside, not so much, because we have all these windows and the sun coming in, and we catch the sunset side. So anyway, so much for that. Yeah, love my Matagorda life. I'm not complaining. I guess I'll go ahead and start with some chart toppers and people that made a big impact on the charts this week. Nate Barnham with Last Call. It's so smooth. It has a great hook. It's kind of old school. He debuted at 79 on that one.
Oh, wow.
Did you have a chance to listen to it?
I did, yeah. I had the same thoughts. It's a nice, smooth, it's like soulful, pretty song. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, love that. And then, of course, you and I both during the week jumped on Sundance Head and Ariel Hutchins with Showing Off. And do you know that Sundance produced that song?
I had a feeling because I know he does stuff like that.
Yeah, Ariel Hutchins flew in for it. She was handpicked by Dave Smith for it.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like butter garlic melting with their harmonies. I mean, it's just like I could listen to it over and over and over again. It's so gorgeous.
I really liked how they waited until the end to really hit it with the harmonies together, because they were doing the trade-offs for the most part, and then at the end they came together, and yeah, it was real nice. I wonder if they found her after the first single, or how. I wonder how they made that connection.
Because he's a smart man.
Yeah,
I'll school you on Dave Smith.
Okay.
But yeah, it's amazing and it's awesome, and it's gonna go places.
Yeah.
And then the highest debut on the charts this week was Abe Mac Band with Square One, and I really enjoyed that song.
Nice. I feel like every week now you've got at least one for me that's VIP, just only released to radio, that I'm gonna have to wait and listen to.
Yeah, it's just, always try to find the ones to look at. And then I know we had talked about Mickey and the Motor Cars releasing Rodeo Girl, and they had the most ads this week. And then also Reckless Kelly, their new single went way up. We had talked about it a couple of weeks ago when I found out it was being released. And so that's where we stand with just the things I'm looking at, what's hot and probably going to top. So what you got?
Yeah, well, so one of them that I'm going to talk about this week, I was going to ask you what it did on your charts, because I didn't really get a chance to look. He does really well on streams with a lot of his recent releases, but it's Better by the Beer, Jake Bush.
Yeah, and actually that's his follow-up to his past. He just recently had a number one with Gravity and You, and that's his follow-up. And it's number 3 on the Texas regional radio charts.
Gotcha.
Been charting for 19 weeks. It's been moving up, and actually I've already added that song to my library.
Nice.
But it's just a good old honky tonk song.
Yeah, he sounds great too. I mean, I guess I think they recorded that at Rosewood, and everything that comes out of Rosewood is just awesome. Not that Rosewood's the ones doing it. They're just making it a little bit better than it already was.
Well, I'm very familiar with Rosewood. I can tell you everything about Rosewood, and they are the best. And I know the whole backstory. Like, I have artists that records there. It's a great place to record. They're total pros there.
Right on. Yeah, I really just like some of the stylistic choices they made. Like they've got that like really loose sounding saloon piano that comes in the second verse, just like banging away, and it like adds this level of imagery to the words that, I don't know, just makes you feel like you're in the 20s sitting in a saloon listening to somebody jamming.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really, really like that song, and I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time, so I'm glad we finally got to hit it, and hopefully we get to see it go number 1.
Yes.
Another one that I wanted to mention is a guy who's been making waves. I just constantly, I feel like, see people talking about how he's, one of the next great up and coming Texas country songwriters. and I'm not actually sure how old he is. He looks pretty young, but his name's Joey Greer, and he put out an EP earlier this year. And there's a song on the EP called "Yesterday" that's doing really well on streaming right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a live acoustic song, and it's just like one of those, super intimate, emotional, personal, lyrical songs that just pulls you in. And by the end, you're just like, oh man, is this really over? Like, why? I need to keep hearing this story, or you got to hit play again.
Right,
You don't want
right,
to leave that moment once you're there.
right.
But yeah, Joey's got a really cool voice, and I mean, like I said, I've been seeing his name all over the place, so I need to go and catch him live. I've heard from some friends in the industry that he puts on a really good show.
Mm-hmm.
And then one more for you, and this is somebody we've already talked about before, and I think I've probably made it pretty clear at this point that he's one of my favorites right now, if not my favorite. Corey Kent has another one back on the charts with "Feels a Lot Like This."
Such a good song. And he made some big momentum this week on the charts with it.
Yeah, and he's already got another song too coming out today. He's got a new single coming out called "What It Doesn't Do." So I don't know what it is, but I mean, no matter how fast or slow or loud or soft the song that Corey puts out is, it's just got this swagger about it, and it's just like so cool, and it feels like relevant. He has this song on his last album called "Tumbleweed," and that's like lyrically one of my favorite songs right now. And Feels a Lot Like This is much more upbeat and fast, kind of like "Gold," the last radio or the last charting single we talked about.
Yes.
It's just got this badass thing about it, and it's hard to not focus on it when you hear it.
I know, and it's totally got my kind of sound.
Yeah,
like I love it.
Yeah, he's killing it. I'm excited to see him again.
So let's do a little looking at who's at. Okay, so Mark Powell. We're looking at Texas Regional Radio Report right now, and he was number 2 last week. He's number 1 this week. Nice. With "I Hope I'm Holding You." Jake Bush, "Better by the Beer," was at number 5 last week. He's at number 2 this week.
There you go.
And then Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen, "Hold My Beer." Casey Donahue, "Queen for a Night," still hanging in there. And then all of a sudden, Kylie Fry had she had the most increased spins on this chart this week. Oh, wow. And she went from number 8 to number 5.
Nice. That's awesome.
And then looking at CD Extraction Texas, Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen, "Hold My Beer." They are at number 1. They were number 1 last week. Casey, number 2 last week. Curtis Grimes with "Friends." I love that song. Number 3 last week. And then Mike Ryan, we've talked about "Can Down," was number 5 last week, number 4 this week. Saints 11 moved up from number 6 to number 5 with "My Home Is." Yes.
Yeah, Mike Ryan, sorry, excuse me. He's been making a big jump on streams as well with that song. So apparently it's crossing boundaries or listenerships and just kind of hitting it hard everywhere. So that's a good way to tell what's a good song,
Yeah. And just to mention our friend John Stork, he's holding at 14 this week.
Nice.
And Matt Castillo is doing good. Since we're talking about some of our friends, Ken Fo moved up a couple of spots on this particular chart, but I'll get to Ken Fo in just a minute. Now let's look at TexasCountryMusicChart.com. Casey Donahue was number 2 last week. He's at number 1 with "Queen for a Night." Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen, "Hold My Beer." Then Curtis Grimes, "Friends." Mike Ryan, "Can Down." Clay Hollis, "Anybody Loving You Lately," is rounding out the top 5 on that chart.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's see. It's funny on this chart, Ken Fo is at 24 and Matt Castillo is at 25.
Oh, wow.
Teague Brothers at 21. Our boys are doing so good.
Staying on top of it.
Yes. So happy for them. And speaking of Ken Fo, in case I'm sure you've already heard, but tomorrow, which is the 28th, right?
Yep.
Well, the day that this pod.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, they were kind of like keeping things on the low when we were talking about the video for Plainview when we did the podcast with them. And that was because they were waiting for that big old bow with a package from CMT. It's debuting on CMT as we speak during this podcast.
Yep. That's big news for them. Very big deal.
I'm so super duper proud of them.
And they're staying busy too on the road. They got shows every single weekend. So.
Oh, they're doing big time stuff.
They're hustling, boys. Any cool shows or anything you've seen popping up? I've mentioned it already, but I'm going to go see the Hold My Beer acoustic experience tomorrow at Moe's Place.
That's going to be awesome. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
That's going to change your life.
I hope so. I'm open to it.
You're gonna love it.
Depends how many somethings I have before they start playing.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Miss Helen's had some somethings before this because, it's a holiday weekend here on the coast, and we have friends that, we live here full time. We have friends that live here part time, but they're part of the community. So, like, the doors have been, constantly somebody in and out today, and we don't have no air conditioning.
Ugh.
So go outside in the shade.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. I'm an outdoors person anyway. I hate hanging in the house. I want to be outside.
Yeah. So I talked to my buddy Sheldon, who's tour manager for John Stork, and he said that we talked about it, but I decided not to make it out there because the weather was pretty nasty in Houston. But he said Wash Fest was really fun. They all had a good time. He said Cody West put on an awesome show.
Yeah, it was in Wharton.
Wharton, sorry. I don't even know what I said.
You don't want to get them Bohemians riled up.
What did I say?
Houston. I'm joking.
Oh, Houston.
I'm just joking with you.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I mean, I live in Houston.
Country people.
So Sheldon said the weather really wasn't that bad out there. They ended up having a nice, overcast evening without a lot of rain.
It actually turned out pretty good for them. I talked to some of my friends that actually work there and are involved with the fairgrounds and on the board, and it all worked out good. It was a good success. I just wish I could have made it, but I had so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it was birthday weekend and everybody was taking me everywhere. It was like the birthday weekend that never ended. You just have no idea.
That's the way to do it.
So how was your experience at the Astros game? They lost.
Yeah, it was not a great game. I mean, I had fun like always. We actually, it was funny. I had some season tickets for years whenever I was a kid, and we were like sitting almost right there where, probably 40 rows higher than where we normally would sit. But I don't know. It was cool. It was reminiscent. I hadn't been to a game in probably 2 years. I guess like most people, but it was nice being there, and it was not as nice seeing more than half the audience wearing blue. And we had fun. I ate some hot dogs for $1.
Yeah, that's right. Because it was Wednesday, hot dog night. Right.
No, it's Tuesday, $1 hot dogs.
Oh, they used to have it on Wednesdays, didn't they?
I don't know. I don't remember that happening when I was a kid.
Oh, I know the dollar hot dog because Captain Ron's always like, oh, we're going to go on the dollar hot dog night. Okay. He's going to get some hot dogs and craft beer.
It makes that $15 beer a little bit cheaper.
But, it was so hard for me. And this is going many, many years back. It's like I was, I grew up with going to the Houston Rodeo and Astros games in the Astrodome.
Right.
And I was such a rebel. Like I boycotted this downtown going to Minute Maid, but I absolutely am in love with Minute Maid. It's such an experience. Yeah. It's like, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
But as we speak, they're one game behind the A's. And then did you see the video of the fight last night in the stands?
No.
I don't know the whole story. I've been busy today. I haven't had a chance to actually watch the news. I've just been getting my sports updates. And it was like, what was really sad was like this brawl broke out with a Dodgers guy and Astros people. But the bad thing was there was this little girl that was witnessing it. And it just, that's not what baseball's about. I mean, that's why baseball's my sport. It's just so.
I mean, there's lots of talking, but yeah, no, it should never get physical like that. That's a bummer.
Oh no, like the guy was like blood, yeah, it was bad. It just makes me sad because, especially when you have kids coming up and they're playing Little League and they have aspirations and they go to a game, and just like when I was a kid, and it's like you're so enamored with what the infield looks like and seeing the uniforms and seeing the players under the lights and the smell of the stadium. And then for that to happen, really, people grow up.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's like I said, a little bit of passion's nice, but not that much.
Yeah, I could go on and on about that. I mean, I remember when, I don't know if you remember this, you probably do. Remember how they would have Keuchel's Corner when Dallas Keuchel pitched for us? And so it was towards the end of the season and we were playing the Rangers, and I was so excited because I was getting like the beard t-shirt, sitting in Keuchel's Corner. We had signs and everything, and people had signs. And so I sit down and I'm like, seriously, there's Rangers fans in Keuchel's Corner? But we all made friends. We kept it humorous.
Where was that? And where was Keuchel's Corner? What part?
It was on the bottom level, outside.
Right field?
Yes.
Okay, not right field, but just foul in right field? Yeah,
kind of. I mean,
okay, I can't remember exactly where it was either. The reason I asked is because there there was 2 whole entire sections that were blue on Tuesday night. It was real weird. Like
That's weird.
They were scattered everywhere. So I actually saw a bunch of news write-ups and stuff about how many people from LA flew in for these games, just because apparently, we're still Altuve's still in their brains for cheating in 2017. What was that, 15 years ago now?
Yeah, it was recent, but I still remember when the Astros in 2013 started coming out the gate hot, and when we were building in our farm team, we were actually building in our farm team, and it was like there was a whole ordeal with the Boston Red Sox and cell phones in their dugout.
Right.
So don't talk to me about that.
No, it just cracks me up that they've since won the World Series and been to it.
And the other thing, Kyle, is their home, when they would play at home, their on the road record was better than at home.
Right.
So I could go on and on. I'm true blue, people, yada yada, but
I just love it that people are still so upset about it, even with all the, like you said, Red Sox stuff that came out before and also the next year afterwards. And people are still so mad at the Astros. And
But did you notice? And of course, I know it's just a trip down the freeway, but when the Astros played the Rangers, that was terrible. That was a disaster. But anyway, when we got a hit, I was like, oh my gosh, there was tons of Astros people there, fans. Like it sounded like, so it was so cool.
Nice and loud.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, it was just odd. You couldn't tell the difference between a boo and a cheer, because
half
the crowd was booing and half the crowd was cheering the other night at the same time. And it was pretty odd. I had not experienced that much of a split in the audience. I don't think at any sporting event,
Oh, just gotta.
Even at Kyle Field growing up, it was, you could tell who was yelling, Now it's kind of a little bit of both.
You and I are so funny. We start talking about baseball, we totally forget what we're supposed to be talking about.
No, I feel like at this point, if people are listening to us, then they know what they're here for. I hope. Or maybe they can turn it off. Turn it off 10 minutes into the episode if you don't want to listen.
Yeah. The next thing I want to talk about real quick is it's the official kickoff this weekend of the CCA Texas Star Tournament. And you probably are not familiar with this.
Well, I know CCA, but
yeah, but the Star Tournament runs from Memorial Day through Labor Day weekend. But what they did this year, because we had the freeze and we've had so much pressure and we lost so many of our species of fish, especially trout, everything is catch and release, and it's only tagged redfish inshore in the bay this year, which I think is going to make it pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. So good luck to all you anglers out there. When CCA kicks off, we're all like, if we catch a red, has it got a tag on it? Or I keep I keep notes on, well, of course I have it in my head, but like, okay, if I'm going to weigh this in. So, and then they added the red snapper division back this year for offshore. So and then snapper season for recreational fisher people, anglers. Mm-hmm. I like to keep it, anglers starts on June 1st. So that's right around the corner. So a lot of fun stuff. I just wish the weather would lay down. Water would get pretty high pressure. We don't need so much high pressure.
I woke up early this year.
Yeah. Not good.
You get a little break.
Not good to catch fish in high pressure. And I've experience that, but anyway.
Speaking of fishing, I know you always say topwater, right? So you're normally in the bay, right? I mean, you don't do a lot of snapper stuff. You don't go out there.
Yes, we do. But it's so hard. You got to make sure it's a good time. But I've got offshore tournaments coming up. We have our Ladies Mermaid tournament coming up, which I'll talk about that as we get into it, because it's a pretty famous tournament here in Matagorda, and the history of it is awesome. And it's an honor and a privilege to get to fish in that tournament. It benefits a lot of organizations here in Matagorda, and the ladies come from all over to fish the mermaid tournament. It's a 2-day event. We have the Calcutta and captains meeting on Thursday, off day Friday, which normally is pre-fishing or making your plans, and then we fish on Saturday, and we go way out. We got to get 3 species, and you've got to get out there in that deep water. So
that's cool. I didn't realize that's how it worked.
Yeah,
you just come back with 3.
Well, if you want your full stringer, but yeah. So anyway, it's always a bonding experience with us girls. It's like, like I say, I need to come up with a boat talk book or something, because it's like, there's so many memories that are made on the back of a boat, just sitting and talking, or experiences with cheering your team member on and bringing in a fish, and just, it's good stuff. So anyway.
Nice. Well, so speaking of all of that, since I've got you here public and live, I went and hung out with Trent Cowie last night, and we went
how's Trent?
He's good. We went and saw some music. It was actually cool. 100.3 Nick Russo invited Trent and the band out to a private event they had at Carbach Brewery, and we went and hung out there, and it was really cool. Matt Stell played, and he's got some pretty popular songs right now, so that was fun. But we decided that as soon as possible, him and I and maybe a couple other dudes from the band are going to come down there and hang out with you and go catch some fish.
Yes, we're ready for you to come down, Kyle. Like everybody here's been like a lot of I have to say hello to my dear friend Robin. Known her for years, and Robin has a place in the Bahamas.
Oh, wow.
And she found the podcast. And so she's like a little bit of home in the Bahamas. And so like everybody's starting to pick up the podcast here too. And they like, you're just like an adopted child of us Matagorda people.
Yeah. They I guess they haven't seen the face, right? Since we don't do, I was going to say they've seen the face, but they haven't met me in person, but.
So you need to come, and Ryan can hang out with us, and that'll be good. Yeah.
Right on. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, and we can go by and see Mike Black, founder of TSC Entertainment, which supports this podcast.
Absolutely.
You know, that's something I haven't talked about, and we need to talk about. It's like TSC Entertainment has given us so much support for this podcast. Mm-hmm. They were trying to get me to do a podcast for quite a while, but it couldn't have been possible until Kyle came around. So you were such a godsend, and here we are.
Pieces fell into place. Yep. And now we're in a situation where we get to do this twice a week, and they're fully supporting the whole endeavor. So
yes.
Obviously many thanks to them. And I mean, I remember we did this a long time ago, but I don't really think we talked a whole lot about what TSC does.
Yeah, well, any kind of entertainment you need booked, you can book it.
Exactly.
And in being in our wheelhouse, we've got Matt Castillo on our roster. We have Rick Trevino, we have Tracy Bird, and James Land, Mr. Hot Sauce Guy, he's going to be on the podcast very soon. So exciting stuff. It's really worked out good.
Yeah. So if any of you guys are listening and you need some entertainment for anything, TSC Entertainment's got you covered. It's tscentertainment.com. You just go on there and you can send an inquiry, and we can kind of figure out, what kind of music you're looking for and what your budget is and all that good stuff, and get you somebody perfect lined up for your event. So
absolutely. All right.
Alrighty, cool. Well, you get out of there, go catch some wind and cool off a little bit, and I will catch up with you next week.
Yeah, and everyone have a safe and happy Memorial Day. And if you're going to be on the water, please respect it, because it's dangerous. If you head to the beaches, it's beautiful, but it's not a lake or a river, which that water is dangerous too. It's like, I'm such a safety person. And remember, if you're on the boat, you're responsible for your wake. Keep your life jackets on. We've had way too many people being pulled out of the bays, and this goes down to Galveston. This goes down south. And it's like, very, very dear friend of mine, my yoga instructor, Christy Bishop, her husband's fire chief here, Clay, love them. And, she said, Helen, she said, in all the calls that we've had on the water, she said, I've never pulled a dead person out of the water with a life jacket on.
Wow.
Wear the life jacket.
Yeah.
And I know I don't like to wear mine, but it's
I mean, if you're going to be in the water, just do it. It's just like the helmet argument. Like, the statistics show how, successful being safe is. So,
so
no reason to die over something so small like that.
Well, alrighty. I got my new Costas for this year in today.
Nice. There you go.
I'm set. I got to get a new pair of Costas. Yeah, Costa. I need you to sponsor us, Costa.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, all right, Kyle. It's been a joy talking to you. I enjoyed the visit.
Yeah, have a good weekend. It sounds like you're gonna be busy, so.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, well, have fun. Well, I'll see you, or I guess we'll see everybody on Tuesday with George Dookiss.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I can't wait. Yes. And then that thing from when he was 10 years old. But anyway, I'll zip it. I'm the one that can't keep surprises, so I'll stop right there.
Alrighty, cool. Catch up with you next week.
Kyle. Cheers, Kyle.
Cheers.
Well, you can go to hell. I'll go to Texas. I've had my fill of every place but home. Well, take away